At 63, Patrick Ewing stands as a towering figure in the history of basketball, yet the story of his life is far from the triumphal narrative one might expect for a player of his caliber. A Hall of Famer, a symbol of New York Knicks basketball, and one of the most dominant centers to ever grace the court, Ewing's career was marked not only by greatness, but by a haunting series of near misses and what could have been moments. While the record books celebrate his statistics, over 24,000 points, 11,000 rebounds, 2,000 blocks, the story behind the numbers is one of relentless effort shadowed by circumstances beyond his control, a career punctuated by heartbreak, disguised as perseverance. Born in Kingston, Jamaica, in 1962, Ewing immigrated to the United States at a young age, carrying with him the hopes of his family and the weight of a world that expected him to succeed. He quickly rose to prominence at Cambridge Rindge and Latin School in Massachusetts, where his talent was undeniable. But it was at Georgetown University, under the stern guidance of Coach John Thompson, that Ewing became more than a basketball player. He became a symbol of resilience, discipline, and raw athletic dominance. At Georgetown, Ewing led his team to an NCAA championship in 1984, an accomplishment that cemented his reputation as a winner and positioned him as the first overall pick in the 1985 NBA draft, chosen by the New York Knicks. From the very first moment he stepped on a Madison Square Garden's hallowed hardwood, Ewing carried the hopes of a city starved for a championship. The Knicks, however, were a team defined by heartbreak, and their fortunes were not always aligned with the greatness of their star. Ewing's tenure in New York coincided with the rise of Michael Jordan, the dominance of the Chicago Bulls, and the emergence of other dynastic teams. Year after year, Ewing and the Knicks came agonizingly close to the NBA Finals, only to fall short, leaving him to shoulder the disappointment of an entire fan base. It was a paradoxical existence, revered yet blamed, celebrated yet burdened. Injuries further complicated his journey. Ewing's body bore the brunt of a punishing playing style, grimaces of pain often hidden behind stoic determination. Knees, ankles, and back injuries became recurring adversaries. Each comeback was a testament to his resilience, yet the physical toll robbed him of some of his prime years. Fans witnessed the spectacle of a man willing to endure almost unimaginable pain for the sake of victory, yet the championship ring, the ultimate reward, remained elusive. This juxtaposition, the heroism of effort versus the absence of ultimate success, cast a shadow over what is otherwise a legendary career. After retiring in 2002, Ewing's life did not settle into the quiet glory that some athletes enjoy post-career. Instead, he ventured into coaching, initially as an assistant, learning the craft from behind the bench, always with the hope of guiding a team as a head coach. Yet, the narrative repeated itself. Opportunities to lead the highest level came slowly, and the results, while respectable, did not mirror the brilliance of his playing days. At Georgetown, his alma mater, Ewing returned as head coach in 2017, a role that should have been a homecoming and a narrative of redemption. While he brought integrity and dedication to the position, the team's performance remained inconsistent, leaving him yet again in a space where expectation collided with reality. Beyond the court, Ewing's story is one of quiet dignity in the face of unrelenting pressure. He navigated the celebrity culture of New York City, the scrutiny of media, and the expectations of millions of fans, all while maintaining a persona defined by professionalism and grace. He became a mentor, a voice of reason, and a living link to a generation of basketball history. Yet the absence of that elusive championship, both as player and at times as coach, continues to shape the lens through which his career is viewed. At 63, Ewing's tragedy is not found in scandal or failure, but in the almost mythical weight of expectation and near perfection. It lies in a life spent performing at the highest level, making sacrifices few could endure, yet never quite achieving the singular crowning achievement that defines the legacies of others. It is the story of a man who gave everything, yet the world remembers the near misses more vividly than the triumphs. And perhaps, in the reflective quiet of his current life, Patrick Ewing understands this reality more acutely than anyone else. That being a legend does not always guarantee fulfillment, that greatness often comes with a price invisible to those who cheer from the stands. His biographical arc reads almost like a Shakespearean drama. The hero, the tireless warrior, the city's champion, always a step away from immortality's complete embrace, yet eternally revered. This is the tragedy of Patrick Ewing at 63, a life defined by excellence, marked by sacrifice, shadowed by absence, and ultimately human in a way that transcends statistics and accolades. His story continues, not on the court, but in the memories of those who witnessed him play, in the younger athletes who study his form, and in the subtle, poignant reminder that even the most extraordinary lives are bound by fate, circumstance, and the cruel unpredictability of time. As the years progressed, the narrative of Patrick Ewing's career became increasingly intertwined with the heartbreak of playoff defeats. For all his talent, all his physical dominance, and all the moments of brilliance on the court, Ewing became synonymous with near misses, particularly in the most critical moments of the NBA season. The 1994 Eastern Conference Finals against the Indiana Pacers remains a haunting memory for fans and for Ewing himself. Despite leading the Knicks with his signature blend of strength, agility, and basketball IQ, the team fell in a grueling 7-game series. Each missed opportunity, each turnover, each moment where fate seemed to slip through his fingers added layers to the tragedy that would define his legacy. The story of Ewing's career is not just about statistics or accolades. It is a chronicle of expectations unmet. In New York, a city that demands excellence and worships legends, he was simultaneously lionized and burdened. The media, ever hungry for drama, often reduced his narrative to that of the great player who never won it all. Yet, those who played alongside him, those who understood the physical and emotional toll of the sport, knew that Ewing's contributions went far beyond the scoreboard. He was the anchor of defense, the moral compass of the locker room, and the embodiment of persistence in the face of relentless opposition. Injury after injury compounded the challenge. The knees, wrists, and shoulders that had carried him through college and into the NBA began to falter. Ewing's resilience was heroic. He often played through pain that would sideline lesser athletes. Fans witnessed the stoicism, the grim determination, the sheer willpower, and yet the ultimate prize, a championship, remained elusive. This juxtaposition of effort and outcome created a narrative tension that has come to define the HLLW depiction of Ewing. The tragic hero, ever striving, ever giving, yet never quite receiving the reward commensurate with his sacrifice. Off the court, Ewing faced another battle, the transition to life after professional basketball. Many players find solace or reinvention in retirement, but for Ewing, the challenge was to find a way to channel his passion for the game into coaching, mentorship, and leadership. His journey began as an assistant coach, a position that allowed him to observe and learn while still nurturing the talent of others. Yet, the path to a head coaching role was neither quick nor guaranteed. The NBA, like life itself, often mirrored the unpredictability of Ewing's playing days. Opportunities were limited, competition was fierce, and even the weight of his legendary status could not override the realities of hiring decisions and organizational politics. Ewing's eventual return to Georgetown as head coach in 2017 was, in many ways, a homecoming fraught with both promise and pressure. Here was a man who had once led the Hoyas to national prominence, now tasked with guiding a new generation of players through a landscape vastly different from the one he had dominated decades earlier. While he brought a wealth of experience, strategic insight, and an aura of respect to the role, the outcomes were not always aligned with expectations. Losses in critical games, moments of frustration, and the relentless scrutiny of fans and media reminded him, in subtle but unrelenting ways, that the narrative of near triumph had a long shadow, one that stretched far beyond his playing career. Beyond basketball, Ewing's life reflects the quiet dignity of a man who has endured more than most can imagine. He has navigated fame, celebrity culture, and the pressures of public expectation with grace, rarely giving into bitterness or cynicism. He has mentored younger players, contributed to the growth of the sport, and remained a visible, positive figure in communities both local and global. Yet, even in these moments of contribution and leadership, there is a persistent undertone of tragedy, a life of brilliance, rigor, and sacrifice, always measured against the unattained pinnacle of ultimate victory. Ewing's personal life, while more private, also mirrors the tension between success and loss. Away from the public eye, he has experienced the normal human struggles that define every life: family responsibilities, personal disappointments, and the search for meaning beyond professional accolades. Yet even here, the shadow of his professional identity looms large. The achievements of his youth, the battles of his prime, and the haunting memory of what could have been create a complex interplay of pride and melancholy, a duality that resonates deeply with those who understand the pressures of being an icon in an unforgiving world. At 63, the tragedy of Patrick Ewing is not a story of scandal or failure, but of unfulfilled potential in a very specific sense: the tension between extraordinary effort and incomplete reward. He has been celebrated, revered, and immortalized as one of the greats of the game, yet the narrative of the missing championship, the near misses, and the moments when victory slipped away shapes public memory in ways that numbers and statistics cannot fully capture. It is a reminder that even the most heroic lives are subject to forces beyond control: timing, circumstance, and the cruel unpredictability of fate. In the end, Patrick Ewing's life at 63 exemplifies the essence of HLLW storytelling: the intersection of greatness and vulnerability, of dedication and disappointment, of public triumph and private sorrow. It is a narrative that resonates because it is fundamentally human. We see in Ewing the reflection of our own struggles with expectations, with ambition, and with the passage of time. His story endures not simply because of what he accomplished, but because of the poignant, almost Shakespearean reality of what he endured, what he lost, and what he continued to fight for, long after the cheers had faded and the lights of Madison Square Garden dimmed. Even as the years passed, the narrative of Patrick Ewing's career remained intertwined with the ghosts of what could have been. The Knicks teams he led were often loaded with talent, yet never fully able to overcome the dynasties that defined the NBA during his era. Ewing's relationships with his teammates were complex, a mix of mentorship, camaraderie, and the unspoken tension that comes from competing at the highest level while chasing an elusive championship. Players like Charles Oakley, John Starks, and Anthony Mason were part of his journey, men who would become legends in their own right, yet whose careers were also shadowed by the same near misses that defined Ewing's time in New York. Their collective struggle became a narrative of both brilliance and frustration, a story of a team always on the cusp of greatness, but never fully tasting it. One of the most defining aspects of Ewing's story is how he bore the weight of expectation in New York City. Madison Square Garden, the mecca of basketball, was both his stage and his crucible. Every game was a test of endurance, every playoff series a battle against both opponents and history itself. The city's media could be unforgiving, quick to turn praise into criticism when outcomes fell short. Fans, as passionate as they were, could be cruel in their judgments, sometimes forgetting the sheer effort and sacrifice that went into each game. Yet Ewing endured it all with remarkable poise, never allowing external pressure to diminish his commitment to the sport or to his teammates. This steadfastness, however, only deepened the tragic aura surrounding his legacy: a man who gave everything, yet was often measured by the one thing he could not deliver: a championship ring. Off the court, Ewing's influence extended beyond basketball. He became a symbol of resilience and professionalism, someone younger players could look to for guidance and inspiration. Yet, even in mentorship, the shadow of unfulfilled dreams lingered. He understood better than most that talent and dedication alone do not guarantee ultimate success. Life, like basketball, is often unpredictable, and Ewing's journey exemplifies the tension between personal excellence and the uncontrollable elements of circumstance. Ewing's post-playing career in coaching further complicated his story. At Georgetown, he faced the dual challenge of upholding a storied program's legacy while forging a new path. His efforts to instill discipline, strategy, and pride in his players were commendable, yet the outcomes often fell short of expectations. Every loss carried echoes of his own playing days, every near victory a reminder of the championships that had eluded him. Even with his extensive knowledge, experience, and leadership, the same narrative persisted: extraordinary effort, visible excellence. But the ultimate goal remained just out of reach. Beyond basketball and coaching, Ewing's life embodies a broader narrative about the human condition, the struggle between aspiration and reality, between what one deserves and what one achieves. He has navigated fame, celebrity, and scrutiny with dignity, never succumbing to bitterness, yet the quiet sorrow of missed opportunities remains. Family life, personal relationships, and the ongoing search for fulfillment all exist under the shadow of a career that, while remarkable, was always incomplete in one critical dimension. The contrast between public reverence and personal longing defines the tragedy of Patrick Ewing at 63, a man whose excellence is unquestionable, whose impact undeniable, yet whose story is tinged with the melancholy of what might have been. The playoffs, particularly, were stages upon which this duality played out most vividly. Games against the Chicago Bulls, led by Michael Jordan, tested every ounce of Ewing's talent, resilience, and mental fortitude. Each matchup was a battle of wills as much as skill, and while Ewing often excelled individually, the collective outcome rarely aligned with his immense efforts. These moments of near success, the tantalizing almost, became defining features of his legacy. They contributed to a narrative that is both heroic and heartbreaking, a tale that HLLW storytelling thrives upon, blending human vulnerability with the grandeur of extraordinary accomplishment. Ewing's influence extends into the present, shaping the next generation of players both at Georgetown and across the NBA. Young athletes study his technique, his defensive prowess, his commitment to fundamentals, and his leadership qualities. Yet, alongside admiration, there is the implicit cautionary tale. Even the greatest talent may be subject to the whims of fate, circumstance, and timing. This duality enriches Ewing's legacy, making it both inspirational and sobering, a reminder that triumph in life and sport is rarely absolute. At 63, Patrick Ewing's tragedy is both subtle and profound. It is not the tragedy of scandal or moral failure. It is the tragedy of a life spent chasing perfection, giving more than most could, yet being denied one final, defining accolade. It is the story of a hero in the classical sense, valiant, persistent, respected, yet eternally touched by the cruel hand of fate. In the context of HLLW, Ewing represents the archetype of the noble figure whose struggles and near misses resonate far beyond the arena, touching the universal truths of effort, hope, and the bittersweet nature of human ambition. Ultimately, Patrick Ewing's life at 63 is a testament to endurance, integrity, and the complexities of legacy. He stands as an icon whose story transcends basketball, illustrating that greatness is often measured not solely by titles or rings, but by the courage to continue striving when ultimate success remains just out of reach. It is a narrative that continues to inspire, challenge, and resonate, a powerful reminder that even in the face of disappointment, a life of purpose, dignity, and relentless effort is itself a remarkable achievement. As the years have progressed, Patrick Ewing's influence has expanded far beyond the hardwood of Madison Square Garden. While the echoes of playoff near misses and championship opportunities that slipped away still linger, his legacy now encompasses mentorship, advocacy, and an enduring impact on basketball culture itself. Ewing's journey from player to coach, from icon to guide, has allowed him to shape the game in ways that go beyond statistics. He teaches young players not only the fundamentals of the sport, but the resilience required to endure the pressures of professional competition and the unpredictable twists of life. In this sense, his tragedy is juxtaposed with his triumph. Even without the ultimate NBA title, he continues to leave an indelible mark. Ewing's coaching philosophy reflects the lessons learned from his own career. He emphasizes the importance of teamwork, discipline, and the mental toughness required to overcome setbacks, qualities that defined his tenure with the Knicks. At Georgetown, he imparts the wisdom of experience, reminding players that even the most talented individuals face moments where circumstances are beyond control. Yet, the HLLW lens reveals the bittersweet reality. He is now teaching a generation of athletes about a version of success that he himself could not fully attain. The poignancy lies not in his ability to guide, but in the underlying narrative of unfulfilled championship ambition that still hovers over him. Public perception of Ewing has evolved over time. Initially, media narratives often highlighted what he did not achieve: the absence of an NBA championship, the heartbreaks of critical playoff losses. Yet in recent years, recognition of his contributions has grown more nuanced. Analysts, historians, and fans increasingly acknowledge the entirety of his career: the defensive mastery, the leadership on and off the court, the consistency of excellence across decades. This reassessment does not erase the tragedy, it accentuates it. Ewing is celebrated for greatness, yet the collective consciousness of basketball fandom continues to mourn the championships that eluded him. Such a dichotomy enhances the drama of his life story, a narrative perfectly suited to the HLLW tradition. Off the court, Ewing's life reflects the subtler struggles of adapting to fame and the pressures of public expectation. He has become a symbol of dignity in celebrity culture, navigating endorsements, appearances, and the constant scrutiny that comes with being a high-profile athlete. His ability to maintain professionalism while enduring personal disappointments mirrors the broader human condition: the pursuit of purpose in a world that does not always reward effort proportionately. Even in philanthropy and mentorship, there's a layer of resonance. He invests in communities and young athletes, ensuring that the lessons of his own journey provide guidance and inspiration, even if the world of professional achievement did not always align with his ambitions. Ewing's story also serves as a lens through which to view the evolution of the NBA itself. During his playing days, the league was dominated by physical centers, defense-oriented strategies, and grueling playoff matchups. Ewing embodied this era, with his size, skill, and competitive fire perfectly suited to the challenges of the 1980s and 1990s. Yet, as the league shifted toward pace and space basketball and superstar-dominated teams, Ewing's legacy became a bridge to the past, a reminder of the grit, sacrifice, and endurance that defined a generation. He represents both the pinnacle of his era and the tragic limitations imposed by circumstance, that even the most extraordinary talent is sometimes constrained by timing and the strength of rivals. Family and personal relationships have added another dimension to Ewing's life at 63. While much of his identity has been defined publicly by basketball, he has always maintained a private sphere where the pressures of professional life are balanced by love, support, and personal fulfillment. Yet, even here, the echoes of career-driven sacrifice are evident. Time spent on the court, in training, and on the road inevitably shaped his personal experiences, leaving both achievements and regrets in its wake. This duality, public glory and private compromise, underscores the richness of the tragedy, reminding us that human lives are rarely measured by accomplishments alone. In many ways, Patrick Ewing's life story at 63 encapsulates the essence of HLLW drama. It is about grandeur tinged with sorrow, triumph shadowed by near misses, and the enduring tension between effort and outcome. He exemplifies the archetype of the noble hero whose dedication and integrity are beyond question, yet whose ultimate ambitions remain partially unrealized. The complexity of his narrative, athletic excellence, personal resilience, public admiration, and private longing, creates a story that resonates far beyond the basketball court, touching on universal themes of ambition, loss, and the pursuit of meaning. Ewing's continuing presence in the basketball world, whether through coaching, mentoring, or public engagement, ensures that his story remains alive and influential. Young players study his form, emulate his work ethic, and absorb the lessons of perseverance that he embodies. Fans revisit classic Knicks games, marveling at his defensive mastery and offensive prowess, while reflecting on the heartbreak of near misses that defined so much of his career. The HLLW perspective frames this as a narrative of both inspiration and melancholy, a hero whose struggles illuminate the human experience, reminding us that greatness is often inseparable from sacrifice, and that the measure of a life cannot be reduced to a single championship or accolade. Ultimately, Patrick Ewing at 63 is both legend and tragic hero. His story is one of enduring resilience, relentless effort, and the pursuit of excellence in a world that is often unforgiving. Though the NBA title that eluded him during his playing career remains a gap in the record books, the impact of his life on teammates, players he mentors, fans, and basketball history itself is undeniable. It is a legacy that blends achievement with heartbreak, glory with struggle, and brilliance with the bittersweet reality of what could have been. In this, Patrick Ewing's life continues to captivate, inspire, and evoke the kind of emotional resonance that defines the most compelling narratives in HLLW, a story of humanity, greatness, and enduring poignancy. As Patrick Ewing continues through his 60s, the contours of his legacy become more apparent, shaped not only by the triumphs and tribulations of his playing career, but also by the ways in which he has navigated life after the NBA. Public attention often gravitates toward championships, accolades, and statistical dominance, yet Ewing's influence extends far beyond those traditional metrics. He has become an emblem of persistence, professionalism, and the nuanced realities of life in the public eye, a figure who embodies both greatness and the bittersweet truth of unfulfilled expectations. In recent years, Ewing has been involved in numerous ceremonial events and tributes that highlight his contributions to the sport. Hall of Fame anniversaries, Knicks reunions, and Georgetown celebrations all serve as reminders of his towering impact. Each appearance is met with admiration and nostalgia, yet there is an underlying acknowledgement of the almosts that defined his career. The series lost, the championships narrowly missed, and the moments when victory slipped through his grasp. These occasions underscore the duality of his legacy. He is celebrated for his excellence, yet the narrative of unfulfilled ambition continues to shadow even his most public triumphs. Beyond public recognition, Ewing's work as a coach and mentor has become central to his ongoing influence. At Georgetown, he has cultivated an environment that emphasizes not only basketball skill but character, discipline, and resilience. His players learn firsthand the lessons of his own career, the value of dedication, the inevitability of setbacks, and the necessity of perseverance in the face of adversity. Here, the tragedy of his life subtly transforms into guidance for others, creating a living testament to his enduring impact. Young athletes benefit from his insight, gaining an understanding of what it truly means to commit fully to a craft, even when the ultimate reward is uncertain. Ewing's relationships within the basketball community have also evolved, deepening the richness of his story. Former teammates, opponents, and colleagues frequently recount anecdotes that reveal the man behind the legend. His meticulous preparation, his quiet leadership, and his unwavering support for teammates. These accounts highlight a less visible dimension of his legacy, one that is defined by mentorship, loyalty, and influence rather than trophies. The respect he commands across generations of players demonstrates that success is measured in multiple ways, often beyond the immediately visible accolades that dominate headlines. At the same time, Ewing's life underscores the persistent tension between public perception and personal fulfillment. Fans and media often focus on the absence of a championship ring, framing his career in terms of what was not achieved. Yet, Ewing himself has consistently emphasized the satisfaction derived from effort, dedication, and the opportunity to compete at the highest level. This perspective, quietly articulated through interviews and public statements, reflects a nuanced understanding of success, one that embraces the value of commitment, character, and contribution alongside conventional measures of achievement. The physical and mental toll of Ewing's career also remains a part of his narrative. Years of high-level competition left their mark, requiring careful management and adaptation as he aged. Yet rather than diminishing his presence, these experiences have added depth to his role as a mentor and leader. He can speak with authority on perseverance, the realities of physical sacrifice, and the challenges that come with striving for excellence over decades. This lived experience makes his guidance uniquely powerful, offering insights that are impossible to glean from statistics alone. Ewing's enduring popularity is also shaped by the cultural resonance of his career. He played during a transformative era in the NBA, one that combined raw physicality, intense rivalries, and the rise of global fandom. His role as a central figure in that era ensures that his story is interwoven with the broader narrative of basketball history. In HLLW terms, he represents the archetype of the tragic hero whose personal narrative mirrors larger societal and cultural dynamics, someone whose successes and struggles reflect the aspirations, frustrations, and collective memories of an entire generation of fans. Personal reflections at age 63 reveal a man who is deeply aware of both his achievements and the lingering questions that define his legacy. While the absence of an NBA championship remains a notable gap, Ewing consistently emphasizes the broader arc of his life: the joy of competition, the bonds forged with teammates, and the opportunity to influence future generations. This perspective transforms the narrative from one of mere disappointment to a rich story of resilience, perspective, and enduring influence. The tragedy is tempered by wisdom, the near misses softened by the knowledge that a life of purpose and dedication carries its own intrinsic value. Ultimately, the story of Patrick Ewing at 63 is emblematic of the HLLW ethos, a narrative that blends drama, human vulnerability, and enduring significance. He exemplifies the intersection of greatness and limitation, illustrating that even the most extraordinary talents are subject to circumstance, timing, and the unpredictable dynamics of both sport and life. His legacy is multifaceted, a testament to skill, leadership, and resilience, marked by heartbreak yet enriched by mentorship, cultural impact, and the enduring admiration of those who witnessed his journey firsthand. In a final assessment, Patrick Ewing's life remains a compelling drama. It is a story of brilliance and sacrifice, of near triumphs and quiet redemption, and of the ongoing negotiation between ambition and reality. His experiences resonate because they reflect universal truths: the tension between effort and reward, the inevitability of setbacks, and the enduring value of perseverance. At 63, Patrick Ewing stands not only as a basketball legend, but as a figure whose life story captures the enduring power of human ambition, the complexity of legacy, and the subtle, profound beauty of striving even when ultimate success remains elusive. In recent years, Patrick Ewing has increasingly become a figure of reflection, contemplation, and reverence within the basketball community. At 63, the man who once towered over opponents on the court now stands as a symbol of enduring legacy and measured influence. He has been invited to countless ceremonies, from Hall of Fame anniversaries to Knicks alumni events, each occasion reinforcing his significance not only as a player, but as a mentor and ambassador of the sport. Yet, amid the applause and accolades, the narrative of what could have been continues to hum quietly beneath the surface, a reminder that even legends are touched by the bittersweet nuances of fate. Ewing's presence at these events serves multiple purposes. For fans, it is a moment to celebrate a storied career, to reminisce about the feats that once lit up Madison Square Garden, and to acknowledge a player whose impact was as profound off the court as it was on it. For younger athletes, Ewing embodies the values of perseverance, discipline, and integrity, qualities that transcend basketball and speak to the broader challenges of life. He teaches that greatness is not solely defined by championships or statistical dominance, but by the commitment to excellence, the ability to endure setbacks, and the courage to continue striving when outcomes remain uncertain. At the same time, Ewing's role in mentoring and coaching has expanded in scope and depth. Beyond Georgetown, he participates in clinics, workshops, and youth programs that reach aspiring players across the globe. His message is consistent. Talent is only part of the equation. Dedication, resilience, and character are equally critical. Ewing's ability to connect with younger generations underscores the power of lived experience. He conveys lessons learned through triumphs and disappointments alike, ensuring that the struggles he endured and the near misses that haunted him serve as teaching tools rather than mere sources of personal regret. Culturally, Ewing's story resonates because it bridges eras. He played in a time defined by physical play, intense rivalries, and the emergence of global basketball fandom. Today, the league has evolved, favoring speed, spacing, and superstar-dominated narratives. Ewing's career, therefore, represents a touchstone, a reminder of an era when grit, toughness, and mental fortitude defined a player's identity as much as scoring averages or highlight reel plays. In the HLLW framework, this elevates his story from individual biography to cultural emblem, illustrating how one life can intersect with broader societal and historical currents, amplifying both its drama and significance. Despite public reverence, the personal dimension of Ewing's life at 63 remains quietly compelling. Away from the glare of media and the roar of arenas, he reflects on choices, sacrifices, and the reality of pursuing excellence under relentless scrutiny. The countless hours devoted to practice, the enduring physical pain, and the emotional strain of playoff disappointments are tempered by the satisfaction of a career lived with integrity and passion. Family, friends, and protégés form the support network that provides balance, reminding him that the measure of a life is not confined to rings or accolades, but to influence, impact, and personal growth. The narrative of near triumph persists, and yet it has evolved into something more profound. Whereas earlier in his career the absence of an NBA championship felt like a defining deficit, at 63, Ewing's legacy is appreciated for its completeness, paradoxically enriched by the tension between achievement and limitation. His life exemplifies a truth often overlooked. Greatness is complex, multidimensional, and rarely absolute. The interplay of victories, losses, personal sacrifice, and mentorship weaves a richer tapestry than any single statistic or trophy could convey. Ewing's recent reflections often emphasize gratitude and perspective. He speaks about the honor of competing at the highest level, the privilege of representing New York, and the relationships formed along the way. While the championships that eluded him remain part of the narrative, they are no longer viewed as shortcomings, but as components of a life characterized by commitment, resilience, and influence. This evolution, from frustration to measured reflection, illustrates a profound human arc, one in which the hero reconciles the tension between ambition and reality and finds fulfillment in enduring impact rather than singular achievement. At 63, Patrick Ewing continues to inspire, not simply because of the numbers on his stat sheet, but because of the enduring lessons embedded in his story. The drama of his career, the heartbreak of near victories, and the triumph of persistence all serve as instructive, resonant elements for anyone seeking to understand the complexity of excellence. His life demonstrates that true legacy is not measured solely in trophies, but in influence, mentorship, and the capacity to endure with dignity. In HLLW terms, Patrick Ewing embodies the tragic hero archetype, a figure whose brilliance is evident, whose struggles are palpable, and whose story evokes both admiration and empathy. The narrative of near misses, intense competition, and personal sacrifice resonates across generations, offering insights into the nature of ambition, perseverance, and resilience. While public memory may linger on what was not achieved, the full measure of his life encompasses far more: lessons imparted to younger generations, cultural resonance within the sport, and the enduring image of a man who confronted challenge after challenge without compromise to his principles or passion. Ultimately, the story of Patrick Ewing at 63 is a compelling testament to human endeavor. It is a narrative that blends athletic excellence, personal sacrifice, and the complexities of legacy into a cohesive, deeply human drama. While he may not have captured every championship dream, his influence, impact, and the dignity with which he navigated his career ensure that his life continues to be celebrated and studied. Ewing's journey reminds us that the essence of greatness is not found solely in the accolades we accumulate, but in the persistence, resilience, and integrity with which we pursue our passions, a lesson that resonates far beyond basketball and endures in the hearts and minds of those who follow his story. As Patrick Ewing moves further into his 60s, the lens through which his career and life are viewed has shifted from immediate performance to lasting influence and legacy. While his playing days are often remembered for the championships that narrowly eluded him, today the focus is increasingly on the broader contributions he has made to the game of basketball, the players he has mentored, and the inspiration he continues to provide to fans around the world. This evolution underscores a central tension in his story, a narrative that HLLW thrives upon, where greatness is defined as much by resilience and character as by the tangible results on the court. Ewing's impact in coaching has become particularly significant in shaping the next generation of athletes. His tenure at Georgetown allowed him to translate decades of experience into lessons not only about basketball strategy, but also about leadership, perseverance, and professionalism. Players who train under him witness firsthand the discipline required to compete at the highest level and the importance of mental fortitude in overcoming adversity. Ewing's approach reflects a deep understanding of what it means to sustain excellence over time, and it emphasizes the value of effort, preparation, and integrity in defining a meaningful career. Even as victories on the scoreboard sometimes fell short of expectation, the lessons he imparted remain invaluable, creating a legacy that extends well beyond personal accolades. Public recognition of Ewing's contributions has grown increasingly sophisticated. Analysts and historians now emphasize his defensive dominance, leadership, and consistency, recognizing that the measure of a player's career cannot be reduced to the presence or absence of a championship ring. Yet, within this acknowledgement lies the subtle poignancy of his narrative. He is celebrated for his excellence, but the what might have been moments continue to add dramatic tension to his story. This duality, achievement intertwined with near misses, renders Ewing's life emblematic of the HLLW style, blending triumph with tragedy to create a narrative that resonates on multiple levels. The cultural significance of Patrick Ewing is equally profound. He played during an era when the NBA was defined by physical toughness, intense rivalries, and a style of play that demanded both skill and mental fortitude. His presence in the league shaped not only the Knicks' identity, but also the expectations and experiences of fans across the globe. Today, as the league has shifted to faster, perimeter-oriented play, Ewing serves as a bridge between eras, a living connection to the grit and resilience that characterized professional basketball in the late 20th century. In this way, his story transcends individual achievement, providing historical and cultural context that enriches the narrative of the sport itself. Off the court, Ewing has navigated the complexities of fame, media scrutiny, and personal life with grace and dignity. While the absence of an NBA championship may have been a source of frustration earlier in his career, he has embraced the broader dimensions of his influence, finding fulfillment in mentorship, community involvement, and the respect of peers and fans. His ability to maintain perspective and balance is a testament to his character, and it illustrates how legacy is shaped not only by public victories, but by personal integrity, the positive influence on others, and the capacity to endure adversity with poise. Ewing's personal reflections at 63 highlight a nuanced understanding of achievement. While he acknowledges the lingering what-ifs and the heartbreak of playoff losses, he consistently emphasizes the value of commitment, preparation, and effort. These reflections resonate because they mirror universal human experiences: the tension between aspiration and outcome, the challenge of sustaining motivation in the face of setbacks, and the ongoing pursuit of purpose. Through his story, Ewing demonstrates that fulfillment can be derived from the journey itself, even when the ultimate prize remains just out of reach. His story is also a meditation on resilience in the face of public and private pressure. Throughout his career, Ewing faced relentless scrutiny from media, fans, and opponents alike. Each game carried the weight of expectation. Each playoff series demanded physical and mental endurance, and each near miss became a public narrative that he had to navigate with composure. These pressures, while challenging, helped define him not only as a player, but as a figure of leadership and perseverance. Today, they inform the way he teaches, mentors, and inspires, offering a blueprint for managing both success and disappointment with dignity. In HLLW terms, Patrick Ewing represents the tragic hero archetype at its most compelling. His story combines brilliance and vulnerability, triumph and limitation, public recognition and private reflection. The narrative of near misses and unfulfilled championship ambitions adds dramatic tension, while his continued influence and mentorship provide the redemptive arc that keeps his story relevant and resonant. Ewing's life exemplifies the tension between human ambition and the unpredictable forces of circumstance, illustrating that true greatness often encompasses both success and the perseverance to continue striving despite setbacks. Ultimately, Patrick Ewing's life at 63 is a testament to the enduring power of resilience, character, and legacy. While his career may be defined in part by what was never fully realized on the court, it is equally defined by the lives he has influenced, the lessons he has imparted, and the cultural significance of his journey. His story reminds us that greatness is not always absolute, that legacy is measured in both tangible achievements and intangible impact, and that the human capacity to strive, endure, and inspire often carries a resonance far beyond statistical records. As the chapters of his life continue to unfold, Ewing's narrative remains a rich tapestry of triumph, sacrifice, and the subtle poignancy of missed opportunities. It is a story that transcends basketball, speaking to broader truths about ambition, perseverance, and the enduring complexity of human achievement. In this, Patrick Ewing at 63 continues to occupy a unique place in the hearts and minds of fans, players, and admirers, a living emblem of greatness, resilience, and the compelling drama of a life lived with unwavering dedication.